Hey, what's up? It's Mykill Metal, and I'm playing some more Kerbal Space Program, and it's time for some single-stage orbit Spaceplanes. This was a bit wobbly on the runway, because I had some more problems with the landing gear. But eventually I get it up into the air, pull the gear up, and get ready to head on up to the cruising altitude. And once I get up to about 20,000 meters, I level off and start heading down the horizon. And I hit full throttle. And after a couple of minutes of acceleration, finally get up to about as fast as I'm going to get going with that. So I switch over to the rocket engines on the Rapier. And I bring the apoapsis up to about 250, maybe a little bit more, because the atmospheric drag is going to pull it back down a little ways. And once it gets set up in orbit, after I circularize, I'm going to open the cargo bay and deploy the satellite, but I realize that I don't have any power on it, so I'm going to EVA. Grab this RTG and attach it to the satellite. I'm going to head back up into the cockpit and deploy the satellite. Use the RCS to thrust away. And then I'm going to bring this back into towards the station, and I'm going to bring it into dock because I'm going to change out the crew. I'm going to put a new shift up into orbit because these guys have been up there for quite a while now. Just going to line this up and bring it on up over the top. Just bring this in nice and slow, using the docking alignment indicator to center it. And once I get it centered, I'm going to thrust towards the station a little bit more. And slow it down just a little bit once I get close, and I'm docked. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change out the crew. I'm going to have these guys head on over into the hitchhiker container. Send them down there, and they're going to have a little party for a little bit. An IVA view of this. Just look around. Some cool views. And once they're done, I'm going to send the crew, the other crew that was in orbit already, I'm going to send them up to the Raven, which is the name of the spaceplane. And eventually he'll get in there. I'm going to send Wilsey up there. Once they're set, I'm going to undock, I'm going to close the cargo bay, flip over, and start using the RCS to burn away from the station. I'm going to get ready for re-entry. And once I'm back inside the atmosphere, I'm going to turn around and head back towards the runway. I'm going to use the engines a little bit because they didn't exactly turn as fast as I would like. I'm going to glide back towards the runway a little bit more. And once I get close enough, I'm going to throttle up just a little bit and drop the gear. And right as I cross the threshold, I'm going to cut the throttle, touch down, and skid off the end of the runway. Luckily nothing broke, so pretty good. And this is going to be Lathe Station. This is the first part that I sent out there. And this is going to be full of fuel for the ship to return back to Kerbal. And once I'm done with this burn, I'm going to set it up north and south. And it like goes right past it. There we go. And once I get it straight, I'm going to move on and go on to the next launch, which is going to be the 6-man SSTO, which is the Albatross. This thing is very heavy. It also has a small cargo bay in the middle of it. It's got a bunch of parts for the station. And I replaced the landing gear, so it's a lot more steady. But I gotta work on the placement of them, because the nose points a little bit down when it's still on the runway. And once I get up to altitude, I'm going to flip over and use the rocket engines. I'm going to raise the periapsis and the apoapsis, try and get a decent orbit out of this. There we go. And I'm going to bring it in close to the station. Use the engines to zero out the velocity. I'm a little far away, so I'm going to burn towards it again. I'm going to time warp in. And once I get set up for landing, or for docking, open the cargo bay and then bring it in nice and slow. I'm going to dock it over here because while this is up here and they're getting the station situated, I'm going to be preparing another shuttle for launch. But for right now, Willsy's going to head out here and he's going to empty out this, which is the cargo container. He's got a couple of science experiments he's going to stick on the side of the space station. A couple of pipe endpoints that are just random stuff that I might need in case I forget it before the launch. There we go. I'm going to put this over here on the other side over here. There we go. This up again. Grab the antenna. Use this one for like long-range communications between Kerbal and Joule. Take a couple of the connectors, slap them on there. Pipe endpoint. Another connector. And one more thing, which is an extra RTG. Another cool thing is these things now have fuel supplies, so they do eventually run out. I'm not sure if that's because of a mod or if that's just an update in the game. But yeah, and at least on the game that I play, that's how that works. So now that he's done, he's going to head over here and sit in the science slab. We'll send over this dude. Send some more over here. And now the station's full. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out this guy. And find out it's full right there. And I'm going to put him over here. And I'm going to take Willsy. I'm going to send him back to the Raven, or the Albatross, sorry. It's this one. And we'll bring him in here. And once they're busy with that stuff, I'm going to launch another space shuttle. This is the shuttle Orion. Detach the clamps and liftoff. This is going to be carrying an empty fuel tank, which is going to be dealing with the excess oxidizer that the Spaceplanes have, because the Rapier engines use the liquid fuel and intake air as opposed to oxidizer while they're in the atmosphere. So I'm going to use this empty tank in the cargo bay. That's our BSEP. I'm going to use this empty tank in the cargo bay for the oxidizer. Just dump that back into the atmosphere and let it get destroyed every time it gets full. And I'll just send up another shuttle to replace it. And I'm going to detach the tank and use RCS to thrust away. Activate the OMS engines. And after a couple of more maneuvers, bring it in nice and close to the station. And I'm going to get it set up north and south. And try to zero out the velocity relative to the station as much as I can. And then detach from the cargo. And I'm going to flip around and attach to the top of it. And we're docked. So now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put it up on the top. And I'm just going to use RCS to move on over there and bring it in nice and slow. Sweet. And that's pretty much done for the station. I think the construction is going to be pretty much complete now. I know I said that last episode, but it should be pretty much done now. Anything else that I put up here is going to be basically science related. Wow, I can't talk today. Alright. So now I'm going to move this on over, and I'm going to face north and south. I'm going to bring it down and dock to the station. This shuttle is going to stay up in orbit for a couple of days. Get this all lined up. And move down there. Use the alignment indicator just to bring it in nice and slow. Once the green plus gets centered on the alignment indicator, I'm just going to thrust towards the station and use time warp to bring me in there. There we go. Once I get nice and close, I'm going to stop time warp. And now just try to keep it centered and let it float into it. And there we go. Fully staffed station with a shuttle and a space plane. Well, that lasted long enough, so I'm going to send these guys back into the atmosphere. And they're going to get prepared for the lathe mission, which is going to be happening in the next episode. I'm going to thrust away from the station. And once I get back in the atmosphere, I'm going to turn around again and use the engines to bring me back to the runway. And that's one of the things that I do love about this thing, is it's a lot more capable than the space shuttles that I built. I can pretty much end up half a mile or a couple of miles away and still make the runway. It's pretty useful. So once I get this thing stopped on the runway, I'm going to head back towards the hangar. And that's going to be it for this one. So if you liked the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you for the lathe mission.
Other one's behind a tree. Got one. He's down. He's down.
I see it.